forget, is that 20th Century Fox or is that Universal? Hi friends, and happy Monday. It's my favorite time of the week again, where I get to talk to you all about movies and movie related things, and I like to call this day Movie Monday. Woo 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 woo. Today I have something a little different for you today. Since I'm giving myself 2 weeks for the movie roulette because of the holidays, I will be doing a movie tag. Woo! So I scoured the internet, mainly Tumblr, and I found a bunch of different questions about movies, and I had to alter a few and like get rid of a few and add some in to make this easier for me to handle. There are a lot of questions, however, so we'll see how fast I can get through these. I did do a little bit of research beforehand to make sure I had all of my answers in order, since there are so many and since I've seen a lot of movies in my life. I have over 600 movies, over 665. It's an insane amount of movies, and I'm only 20. I can't even begin to imagine how many movies people over 20 have seen. Like, dang. So let's go ahead and get started with this movie tag. The first question is, what are your favorite movies? It started out as your top 5 movies, and then I had more than 5 because I can't choose. So I went to 10, and then I couldn't choose still. So I just kept going, and here's just a really long list. Let's go real fast. So we have Spirit Sally and the Cimarron, The Prince and Me, Inglourious Basterds, Moana, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Baby Driver, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Ever After, Cinderella Story, The Luck of the Irish, 13th Year, Stardust, Odd Thomas, Band Slam, Practical Magic, Under the Tuscan Sun, Back to the Future Part 3, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Raise Your Voice, Howl's Moving Castle, The Fundamentals of Caring, Fern Gully, Grease, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, Sky High, The Little Vampire, Pretty in Pink, Lost Boys, Doctor Strange, Aladdin, The Incredibles, Wonder Woman, The Sixth Sense, Batman Begins, Logan, and Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't even want to count how many movies that is. The next question is, what is the last movie you watched at home? And the last movie I watched at home was Shaun of the Dead, because I was trying to do movie roulette, and yeah, it was good. The next question is, what was the last movie you watched in theaters? The last movie I watched in theaters was Loving Vincent, and it is a beautiful movie about my favorite artist in the style of my favorite artist, and it's beautiful. What is the first movie you watched in theaters? The first movie I remember watching in theaters is Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. However, that is not the very first movie I've seen. My mom has informed me that Monsters, Inc. was the first movie that I saw in theaters, and I was absolutely terrified of it. The next question is, what are your guilty pleasure movies? The first one is Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. I actually really enjoy that movie. Maybe not as a Star Wars movie, but just, it's a good movie in general. I don't know why people hate, well, is Jar Jar in that one? Jar Jar's in that one. People don't like him. But I like Liam Neeson, so that was a good time to see him, and I like Darth Maul. He's one of my favorite villains. I think the kid who plays Anakin does a really good job, so it's a good movie, I swear. I also love any Barbie movie. Partially because of nostalgia, partially because I like to make fun of them, and partially because they're not terrible movies. And I just really enjoy kids' movies in general. Also, my last guilty pleasure is X-Men Origins Wolverine, and people hate that movie so much. And I can understand why. It definitely has its flaws, especially in the comic book area. Like, the Deadpool part was just awful, and Ryan Reynolds definitely redeemed himself for that. But there are certain plot points that I really enjoy of it. Like, I like Logan's girlfriend. I really like her, and I love the Native American story she tells. And I just really love the character development on a lot of the characters. And Wolverine's one of my favorite superheroes personally, so I enjoyed seeing his background, even if it wasn't completely accurate, but it was fun. It was a fun movie for me. So I enjoy it even though it's bad. The next question is, what is an underrated movie in your opinion? The first one is Odd Thomas, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time, as included in the first question. And it is about a guy who sees ghosts, and it's starring Anton Yelchin, who was also in the newer Star Trek movies as Chekhov, I think is his character's name. and sadly he passed away not maybe last year, maybe the year before that, in a very tragic accident. And I just think he is a wonderful actor, and I love his chemistry between him and his romantic interest, and I love the mystery. I just love supernatural mysteries in general, and I think it's a very beautiful movie that not too many people have heard of or seen, and I think it definitely deserves more attention. My second underrated movie is called Stardust, and it's based on the Neil Gaiman books by the same name. It's about a boy who goes looking for a fallen star to impress a girl and falls in love with the star because she takes human form. And it's just a really beautiful movie that people who I talk to have not seen it, and it definitely deserves more exposure. The main character is played by the same guy who plays Daredevil in Netflix's Daredevil series, and I think he's a phenomenal actor. And it's just a really endearing story, and there's a cross-dressing pirate in it, and he is fabulous, and I love that movie. I adore it. The third underrated movie I have is The Fundamentals of Caring. This is an indie movie that I believe is a Netflix original, and it has what's his name? My friend doesn't like him. Maybe I'll think about it later, but it's about a guy who becomes a caretaker for a paraplegic, and they go on a road trip to see the world's deepest pit, and it's just really sweet. Selena Gomez, isn't it? Paul Rudd, that's his name. The main character is played by Paul Rudd. My friend does not like him at all. But it is a very beautiful movie, and if you have Netflix, please watch it because it's so good. The next one is The Princess and the Frog. This is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated Disney movies. It was just not well marketed when it was being released, and it's got beautiful animation. The main character is the strong, independent black woman, and she's just got a dream, and she goes for it, and the music's great, and the villain has really good character design. It's phenomenal, and it deserves more recognition because it's one of the better Disney movies, in my opinion. And the final movie I have as an underrated movie is Cats Don't Dance. It's another animated movie where this cat is trying to make it in the film industry, and he wants to sing and dance, but they just want him to be a background character. And it has a lot to do with like the undercurrents of the film industry just in life in Hollywood, and it's very well done. We got to meet one of the head animators on the main character a couple weeks ago in the animation department, so that was really cool. The next question is the opposite of the previous question. What is an overrated movie in your opinion? And I might get some backlash for this because these are very popular movies, but that's why they're overrated to me. Elf is the first one. For one, I do not like Will Ferrell. I do not think that movie is funny. I think it's very dumb. And every time it comes on during the holidays, I get really upset. The next one is Forrest Gump. I do really enjoy the movie, but I don't understand why everyone gets really excited about watching it when people mention it. Like, it's a good movie, but... The next one is The Shining. It has beautiful cinematography, I'm not gonna deny it. Stanley Kubrick has a good eye. I haven't read The Shining personally, but I read a article that talked about how Stephen King did not enjoy Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining, and they told the reasons for it. And one of the reasons was because he did not like Jack Nicholson as Jack, and I agree with that. He said that he seemed too insane from the start, and the story was about him slowly losing his mind. And I totally felt that before I even read that article. I was like, he's crazy from the beginning. That doesn't feel right. Also, the ending was very cold, and I don't get why everyone loves it so much. The next one is Jaws. This movie just really made me angry personally. I thought all the people in it were really stupid, and then I know that it was like impressive for its time or whatever, but the effects are really bad. The final overrated movie I have is The Notebook. I do not enjoy that movie. I thought it was very boring, and I don't get why everybody thinks that Ryan Gosling is attractive. The next question is name a movie that makes you cry. Odd Thomas makes me cry. A Dolphin Tale makes me cry just because they're saving his life and it's so great. Bridge to Terabithia. If you've seen Bridge to Terabithia, you know what I'm talking about. And Queen of Katwe, which is the Disney movie about a girl from Africa who plays chess, and it's very cute and it just made me very emotional. What is a bad movie that you love? This movie is my favorite slasher movie, probably the only slasher movie I'll ever see in my lifetime. It is called Stage Fright. It takes place at a musical theater camp. It is a musical, and it is terrible but hilarious. Highly recommended. What is your favorite soundtrack? My favorite soundtrack, I have several. It's hard for me to pick because I really like music too, but this one is not quite as long. I have Shrek, Shrek 2. Those are two of the best albums in my opinion. Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 both had very good soundtracks. Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version, I bought that whole entire soundtrack and I love almost every single song on it except maybe like one or two, but it is a very good album. And then finally, the best ever is Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. The whole album is by Bryan Adams. Every song is beautiful and I know all of the words to all of them because that is my favorite movie of all time and I have watched it so many times. And I own the soundtrack, so there you go. What are your least favorite movies? They would be Elf, WALL-E, not because it's a bad movie, just because I've seen it way too many times and I'm sick of it. Up, for the exact same reason I don't like WALL-E. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because I think it's very dumb. And Akira, because for one, I just didn't get it. For two, it's apparently not the full story. And for three, that giant ball of flesh really grossed me out. And I just really do not ever want to watch that movie ever again. What are movies you're excited for that are coming out soon? We got Avengers Infinity Wars, Black Panther, Deadpool 2, Incredibles 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 2, Justice League, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Coco, The Shape of Water, Wonder, The Greatest Showman, and there were a couple that I saw the previews for at Loving Vincent. Lady Bird comes out this weekend. I'm excited to see that one. The Breadwinner, and Novitiate. What is a film you refuse to see? These are both scary movies because I don't like scary movies. We got The Candyman and Child's Play, which has Chucky in it. I don't like him. I was traumatized by Chucky as a kid, so I just avoid that at all costs. What is the worst movie adaptation? I'm gonna rank these from least bad to most bad. They're all bad. The least bad one would probably be Fallen. That's based off the Lauren Kate book. I enjoyed the movie because I got to see the characters, but it was just not accurate to the book like at all, and it was not very good either, so I'm glad it wasn't released like big time in theaters. Probably Twilight. It's just not a good movie, but the book, people don't give the book enough credit because the movie's so bad. Plus, everyone just really liked it at one point, and now everyone hates it, so they give it a bunch of crap for... I mean, it's not a good movie, so... The next one would be Inkheart. I loved that book as a kid. That movie was not good. The next one would be The Last Airbender. I'm not even going to talk about that one. And the worst of all time is Mamma Mia. I saw that musical at the Civic Center with my mom when I was really little, and I loved it so much. I have the soundtrack and everything. I have all the songs memorized. And then they bring out that movie, and it's awful, and I hate the casting, and they changed everything, and now they're making a sequel, and it's really uncalled for. Why do they need a sequel? I'm dying. What is your favorite animated movie? Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. Wow, what a surprise. What is your favorite comic book movie? I can't decide, so either Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, or Doctor Strange. What is your favorite musical? Grease. What is your favorite foreign film? Blue is the warmest color. It's about lesbians, and blue is a common theme in that movie. What are your favorite holiday films? These are going to be mostly Halloween because I like Halloween, but Hocus Pocus, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween Town, and The Santa Claus. What is your favorite indie film? The Fundamentals of Caring, most likely. I don't know, because see, it's hard to decipher which ones are indie and which ones are not, because I feel like I just don't hear about movies. I don't know. Do you prefer VHS, DVD, or Blu-ray? I want to say DVD because I don't really notice the difference between DVD and Blu-ray, but it really just kind of depends on what I pick up at the thrift store because I mainly get my DVDs and Blu-rays from the thrift store. So I get whatever's there because I have a PS3 that plays either Blu-ray or DVD, so either works in it, so I just pick up whatever I find. What is your favorite Disney movie that is not Pixar? Aladdin. What is the first thematically adult movie that you watched? So not necessarily like actually rated R, but just like it's not for kids. Mine happened to be rated R. It's called Cherry Crush. It's about a serial killer who only kills girls who use the lip gloss Cherry Crush. Hence the name of the movie. And I don't think we ever actually finished watching it. I used to go to this girl's house every day after school because my mom worked late and she and the girl's mom were friends. So sometimes we'd just watch stuff, like they showed me Lost for the first time. But one night she's like, we're gonna watch this movie, but don't tell anyone because we're not supposed to watch it because it's rated R. And it was Cherry Crush, and I don't think we ever finished it. What is a book you read after seeing the movie? I generally read the book after I see the movie. I tend to see the movie first. I don't know why I do that. I guess I don't want the movie to be spoiled by my preconceptions of the book. But there are 3 movies in specific that I definitely, like, after I watched them, I was like, oh my gosh, this is based on a book. I gotta read that book. I Am Number 4, Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, and Beastly. Those are all 3 good books and 3 good movies, so why are there so many talented actors in this bad movie? The Circle. Tom Hanks, Emma Watson, John Boyega, and many more in this awful movie that I somewhat started rooting for the characters, and I'm like really emotionally invested in this movie even though it's terrible. It was a strange experience. A movie that you would want to live in. Probably any Harry Potter themed movie. Do you believe film is a relevant art form? Oh yeah, I'm going to art school for filmmaking. Of course I believe that. I think it is extremely versatile. It's like taking photography and creative writing and mashing them together, and you can create so many different crazy things in filmmaking. I just love it. It's amazing. And how important are movies to you? They're extremely important. Like, this is the career that I want to have. I want to make movies. I watch so many movies in my lifetime. As I said earlier, I've watched over 665 movies in 20 years. That's a lot of movies. I like movies. What is a movie that you enjoyed but will probably never see again, or you won't seek it out again? Like, I've seen these movies a couple times. They're not my favorite movies in the world, and I enjoyed them the first time I watched them. If they're on TV, I'll probably watch them, but I'm not gonna actively be like, I really want to watch Frozen, or I really want to watch Avatar, or I really want to watch Tangled. I really want to watch Titanic. Like, they're good movies the first time, but it's whatever. Name a film that deserves a sequel. I Am Number 4. Do it. It's probably way too late to do it now, but I really wanted the sequel out of that one. Create a movie marathon for you and a friend. I'm going to create one for me and Kirsten because we're roommates and we're friends. It's a good time. She's been wanting to watch Pet Cemetery for a really long time, so we'd watch that one. We both really like Odd Thomas, so we'd watch that one. And then probably Star Wars Rogue One, because we both really enjoyed the movie as well. What is the oldest movie you can think of that you actually enjoy? This is really difficult because I haven't watched a lot of old movies. I think the oldest one I watched is A Trip to the Moon, which is like in the 1800s, I think. So a really old movie, like at the beginning of filmmaking. I didn't like Sunset Boulevard. I didn't like Breakfast at Tiffany's. But I did like Chinatown. I believe that's from the 70s, so that's not very old. I'm trying to watch more movies, but I just keep avoiding the older ones because I'm afraid I'm gonna get bored. Oops. What are some films you want to see but you never get around to watching? I have so many. I made a list and I started movie roulette just so that I could watch these movies. Like, I have to force myself to do it now or else I'm never gonna watch them. But like, I have a whole list, and if you watch my movie roulette series, you will see all of them. They're also posted on Mondays. I will put the link to the playlist up in an iCard. What site is that? It doesn't matter. I'll put it up in an iCard. It'll be at the top somewhere. What film started your interest in film? There isn't really one film that I can pinpoint as like a launch point for my interest in film. I've just always kind of like loved telling stories. Like, I started out wanting to be an author, so I would tell stories all the time, and then I was also really into photography, and I'd take pictures of everything. And I started wanting to tell stories with my photography, but I didn't feel like I could do that quite as much as I wanted to. And then I figured out that filmmaking is like photography and creative writing, like intertwined, and that's just where I took off. And I've just always loved movies, and this summer I was walking down the street and I'm like, this is what I want to do in life. I want to make movies. I want to watch movies. So that's just movies. A movie that you love but everyone hates. The new Death Note that came out on Netflix. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I thought it was very well paced, and I don't know, I just really liked it. But I've also not seen the anime, so I didn't see what was different about it. And I get that it's whitewashed and they went about it kind of a weird way, but I still enjoyed the movie. So, what is your favorite dance sequence in a movie? The Time Warp in Rocky Horror Picture Show. But that is all the questions I have for this movie tag. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know that I'm doing a good job. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, as well as other videos I upload, please subscribe down below and hit the bell button to make sure that you get notified every time I upload. But for now, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and rest of your year, and I will see you on Wednesday. Stay happy.
Why don't we go understand